From the American Report, DHS Cyber Director Chris Krebs and Deputy Director Matt Travis tied to Clapper, who commandeered Hammer scorecard, November 13th, 2020. Before I begin reading, just should be noted that Chris Krebs has been shrieking on Twitter that Hammer scorecard is a hoax. By Mary Fanning and Alan Jones. Today, a gentleman called into the Rush Limbaugh show and asked guest host Michael Knowles why DHS Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, Director Christopher Krebs is lying about Hammer and Scorecard, while highly respected U.S. Air Force General Thomas McInerney, retired, and Super Attorney Sidney Powell have publicly and repeatedly expressed alarm about Hammer and Scorecard. The Hammer supercomputer's scorecard application injected into state election systems in 10 states cloned identically sized blocks of Biden votes that were used to steal the 2020 election from President Trump, according to CIA whistleblower Dennis Montgomery, who was granted immunity by the DOJ and FBI for exposing illegal U.S. domestic surveillance. Director Krebs claims that Hammer and Scorecard are a hoax, a talking point with which the mainstream media and the fact checkers are now running. There may be a reason why CISA Director Chris Krebs is denying the existence of the Hammer and Scorecard. Krebs worked closely with intelligence contractor Kevin P. O'Prey at Obsidian Analysis. O'Prey hired and worked closely with U.S. Air Force Lieutenant General James Clapper, retired, at DFI International. Clapper received a $50,000 exit bonus from DNI, then awarded O'Prey's DFI branch a contract with Clapper's Pentagon office that oversaw the Hammer and Scorecard. Just aside, Patrick speaking here, these people are criminals. That's all that they do. All right, let's keep going. Clapper illegally commandeered the super surveillance system, the Hammer. Scorecard was one of exploits that ran on the Hammer framework and that secretly stole elections. Clapper was previously caught lying to the Senate Intelligence Committee about unlawful U.S. government surveillance of Americans. James Clapper and John Brennan illegally commandeered the Hammer and Scorecard less than 2 weeks after President Obama's 2009 inauguration. Clapper and Brennan then transformed the Hammer from a foreign surveillance system into an illegal domestic surveillance system, turning America into a communist-style police state. Clapper and Brennan relocated the Hammer and Scorecard to a top-secret facility in Fort Washington, Maryland. They networked the Hammer directly into the Obama White House via an encrypted VPN, according to CIA contractor turned whistleblower Dennis Montgomery, who designed and built the Hammer and Scorecard. According to the whistleblower tapes, Brennan and Clapper used the Hammer to spy on Donald Trump, quote, a zillion times. The CIA feared Donald Trump, Montgomery states. Christopher Krebs, the DHS Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency Director, that's CISA, C-I-S-A, who claims that Hammer and Scorecard are a hoax and reportedly expects to be fired by President Trump, was a principal at Obsidian Analysis, a Washington, D.C. intelligence consulting firm co-founded in 2010 by Kevin P. O'Prey and Matthew K. Travis. Both Obsidian Analysis co-founders O'Prey and Travis have been executives at intelligence contracting firm DFI International, where O'Prey hired retired U.S. Air Force Lieutenant General James Clapper. Travis is currently CISA Deputy Director, where he reports directly to CISA Director Christopher Krebs and may soon replace Krebs. Quote, Department of Homeland Security Acting Secretary Chad Wolf is defying President Trump's order to terminate election cybersecurity official Christopher Krebs. Multiple sources told the New York Post. It's the New York Post, so take it with a grain of salt. Quote, should Krebs be forced to step down, his role would likely be filled by CISA Deputy Director Matthew Travis, who has served in the Deputy Director position since 2018, The Hill reported on November 12, 2020. O'Prey was the head of DFI's Government Services branch, where he hired and worked closely with James Clapper. In October 2006, O'Prey hired retired U.S. Air Force Lieutenant General James Clapper full-time as DFI International Government Services Chief Operating Officer, COO. 6 months later, in April 2007, Clapper left DFI to become Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence. Clapper picked up a $50,000 bonus from DFI when he left for his new job overseeing the Pentagon's intelligence programs. 5 months later, around September 2007, Clapper's Pentagon office awarded O'Prey's DFI International branch with a contract advising Clapper's office. This was the very Pentagon office that was overseeing the Hammer. O'Prey's Obsidian Analysis co-founder Matthew Travis is currently listed on DFI's website as Vice President of Business Operations, DFI Government Services, where Clapper worked under O'Prey. Quote, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, in the Department of Homeland Security appears to be in the midst of a house cleaning, the Federal News Network reported on November 12, 2020. Brian Ware, the Assistant Director of the Cybersecurity Division at CISA, unexpectedly resigned today. Ware confirmed to Reuters that he had handed in his resignation on Thursday, according to Reuters. Ware did not provide details, but a U.S. official familiar with the matter said that the White House asked for Ware's resignation earlier this week. Montgomery designed and built the Hammer to keep America safe after 9/11. Dennis Montgomery designed and built the Hammer foreign surveillance system in 2003 to keep America safe from terrorists and foreign adversaries after 9/11. Beginning in 2007, Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence Clapper had oversight of the Hammer, a supercomputer system that provided foreign surveillance data to the U.S. military in a highly classified Special Access Program, SAP. Clapper's office hired Krebs associate O'Prey at DFI to advise Clapper's office. The Los Angeles Times, in a July 25, 2010 article about Clapper titled Intelligence Nominees Contractor Ties Draw Scrutiny, reported, quote, in October 2006, he, General James Clapper, was hired full-time by DFI International, which was trying to boost its consulting with intelligence agencies. In April 2007, when he returned to public service as the chief of the Pentagon's intelligence programs, DFI paid him a $50,000 bonus on his way out the door, according to his financial disclosure statement. 5 months later, DFI landed a contract to advise Clapper's Pentagon office, though company officials do not recall collecting any revenue from the deal. The First Secret City blog reported in December 2018, in 2006, DFI Government Services, the branch then headed by O'Prey, hired retired U.S. Air Force Lieutenant General James Clapper to head its defense program. Prior to joining DFI, Clapper served as the director of the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, which has its main headquarters in St. Louis. Earlier in his career, he had been director of the Defense Intelligence Agency. Krebs was a principal at O'Prey's Obsidian Analytics from January 2012 to February 2014, putting Krebs in long-term, direct contact with Clapper's former boss. Krebs then served as Microsoft's Director of Cybersecurity Policy from February 2014 until March 2017. Krebs was vice president of Washington, D.C. lobbying firm Dutco from 2009 to 2012. Dutco was, quote, founded by the late Dan Dutco, a close friend of President Bill Clinton and Vice President Al Gore. And several names at the firm have deep ties to the Bush family, according to Politico. Before joining Dutco, Krebs was a policy advisor at DHS from 2007 to 2009 under DHS Secretary Michael Chertoff, a critic of President Trump. Krebs has participated in events sponsored by Chertoff's private contracting firm, the Chertoff Group. The Chertoff Group famously lobbied the TSA on behalf of OSI Systems, manufacturer of the Rapiscan full body scanner. DFI International's deep ties to Democrats. The CEO of DFI International at the time of Clapper's employment at DFI was Barry Blechman. Blechman is the co founder of the Stimson Center. The chairman of the Stimson Center is Ambassador David Lane, who served under President Obama and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton as an envoy to the United Nations. Lane was named chairman of the left-leaning Annenberg Foundation in 2016. The Annenberg Foundation runs fact-checking organization factcheck.org and is a major sponsor of the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Lane was also chief of staff for President Clinton's Commerce Secretary William Daley and worked for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. President Clinton's U.S. ambassador to Russia, Thomas R. Pickering, is a member of the Stimson Center's board of directors. The Stimson Center's official website includes a profile page for Kevin O'Prey, describing him as a former staff member, affiliate, intern, or guest author. In 1995, the Stimson Center published a policy paper by O'Prey titled Keeping the Peace in the Borderlands of Russia. O'Prey published the paper at Stimson in program. As of November 2020, DFI International's board of directors includes Jeffrey H. Smith, DFI International Counsel and former CIA General Counsel for President Bill Clinton's Director of Central Intelligence John M. Deutsch. DCI Deutsch, who hired Smith at CIA in 1995, was caught with classified documents on a laptop computer and a computer disk at his home. Deutsch admitted to mishandling classified information but was pardoned by President Clinton. General John A. Gordon, USAF, retired former CIA Deputy Director under CIA Director George Tenet and President Clinton. Quote, oddly, the firm's website appears to be an English translation based on German text. The first secret city reported without elaborating. Quote, Travis and O'Prey, the founders of Obsidian Analysis, are now vice presidents of Cadmus Group, the EPA's climate change consultant, end quote. The Cadmus Group acquired Obsidian Analysis in 2016. In 2007, DFI International was acquired by British intelligence contractor Detica. In July 2008, Guildford, Surrey, UK-based Detica was acquired by London-based defense contractor BAE Systems. DFI International was renamed BAE Systems Applied Intelligence. BAE Systems Applied Intelligence sells internet surveillance packages to governments, including the UAE government, according to The Intercept. The American Report first broke the Hammer story in 2015. Just in case you're not remembering, the American Report is the source of this entire article. We first broke the Hammer story on the American Report's official Facebook page in December 2015, at the American Report's official Twitter account on March 4th, 2017, in an expose at theamericanreport.org on March 17th, 2017, and on October 31st, 2020, published at the American Report the first ever report on Scorecard. We also published a book about Hammer and Scorecard called The Hammer is the Key to the Coup, released in Kindle format on August 19th, 2020, and available at Amazon. Hammer and Scorecard were foreign surveillance tools that were never to be turned on America. But on February 3rd, 2009, John Brennan and James Clapper illegally commandeered that foreign surveillance tool and illegally turned it on America for the purpose of blackmail and leverage, according to Dennis Montgomery. The hammer was designed and built by Montgomery in 2003 to keep America safe after 9/11. In 2006, DNI Director John Negroponte invoked the state secrets privilege and a government protective order on Montgomery in order to ensure that no one would understand that secret cyber weapons, the hammer and scorecard, were being turned against America. FBI Director Robert Mueller raided Montgomery's home in 2006 in an attempt to corral the evidence of the FBI's involvement in illegal surveillance of Americans with the hammer. In 2015, CIA contractor Dennis Montgomery received immunity agreements from the Department of Justice and the FBI for exposing illegal U.S. domestic surveillance. Copyright 2020, Mary Fanning and Alan Jones.